Fantastic. Thanks everyone for tuning in to day 3 of Gym Growth Week. Like Mason said, I am super excited to be here talking to you all about this subject. As you're trickling in, continue to use the chat. Let me know where you're watching from. Before we dive completely in, I want to talk about a few housekeeping notes. The first one is just stay in the session, right? Really engage, try to minimize the distractions that you may have around you. I know people, if you're in the office, if you're in the gym, people might come in and need something immediately, but really dedicate yourself and your attention to this full hour that you have, joined in for. So other than that, we have our daily giveaway. Another opportunity for you all to win something today from the Next Gen team. They are giving away, I want to make sure I have this correct, free all-star packet of your choice. So you don't only get an all-star packet and a great piece of or a great resource to help better run your gym. You get to choose what that is. That is valued at $139. So I need to pull up my chat so I can see what everyone is saying. Perfect. Okay. So sound off in the chat. There's plenty of opportunities to do that throughout today's session, and I will announce the winner at the end. So please make sure that you are hanging out with me through the end of the session today. All right. Okay, like Mason said, my name is Molly. I am from Jackrabbit, and I'm on the marketing team here. I am just tickled pink and absolutely thrilled to be talking to you about this subject, the do's and don'ts of marketing your cheer gym. One of the many reasons that I'm excited is because the things that I'm going to talk about today aren't just things that I've learned from being in the marketing field. Like I've actually fallen victim to some of these do's and don'ts that I'm going to talk about today and share with you all. So just know that as I'm going through, it's like this is my actual story, and it's the stories of some of the people who are in the department with me. And this is a picture of us up on the screen. It's not the entire department, but it's some of us. And as our smiling faces show, like we're all just so thrilled that you're here. So during the session, I'm going to talk about a couple of things. I'm first going to start sharing a couple of marketing misconceptions, again, that I've fallen victim to throughout my career and noticed that some of our clients have bumped their heads up against along the way since I've been here. I'm going to walk you through some do's and don't scenarios, like do this, not that, right? Hence the name of the session, some do this, not that scenarios regarding or related to each misconception. And then for each of these misconceptions, I'm going to give you some marketing tips that you can put in place to help you overcome some of these marketing bad habits that you might have developed along the way. And you can start doing those like as early as today, right? And you can plan for them into 2024. So let's go ahead and get on into it. I'm going to start off with a crowdsource. So if you would go ahead and open up the chat window for me, and on a scale from 1 to 10, 1 being like a complete hot mess, like you're on the hot mess express, and 10 being you're an expert, I want to know how good of a handle you feel like you have on marketing your cheer gym. 2, love it, Skylar. Honesty. 4, 7, 5, 4, 4, 3. Okay. And no judging here. Like this is a complete judgment-free zone. 5s, a lot of 5s, some 7s, fantastic. 6, okay, kind of middle of the road. Well, excellent. You're going to get some actionable items that you can take away from today. And some of you who were, 6s, 7s, 8s, I might call on you. I threw my fidget paperclip. I might call on a few of you throughout the session just to help me out and help convince a couple of other people about these misconceptions then. All right. So I've talked about this for a while, and we're going to go ahead and unpack that question that was on the last slide. What's holding you back from getting your gym's marketing, just right? It's like almost, but what's holding you back from getting it just right? And I want to start with these 5 misconceptions. Again, I've fallen victim to quite a few, and I've seen our clients bump their heads up against them as well, but they've overcome them. That's fantastic. That's the good thing about these is you can overcome these bad habits. The first one is the belief that you have to be on every single social platform. I know I have some people here on my team who are probably laughing on mute because I am guilty of this one. The second misconception is that marketing is all about content and content alone, that email is old and that emails are outdated, that your current customers are loyal and you don't need to market to them. You know, if I've seen some familiar faces, not faces, if you want to turn on your camera so I can see your face, that would be fantastic. But I've seen some familiar names all throughout this week. And so I know you've heard Danielle talk about, you know, increasing, well, that was yesterday, but you've had people talk about how you can leverage your current customers to increase revenue, to get more pro shop sales. So they're already starting, and they've already helped us kind of or debunk that myth, really. And then lastly, I'm going to talk about the belief that you don't need a website if you have a really stellar social media presence. So the first misconception is my gym needs to be on every social media platform. It's really easy to think that the more platforms you're on, the more reach and engagement you're going to have with your audience. And the spoiler alert to this one is that it's wrong. The reality of this is when you're trying to be on too many platforms, you can waste your time, just point blank. You can waste your time and you can dilute your message and your gym's brand. And now I know you don't want that. I don't want that for you. And how do I know? It's because I've fallen victim to this. I've already let you know I'm guilty of this. Another opportunity for y'all to sound off in the chat. Has anybody ever heard of Threads? Yes, no. What the heck is Threads? Yes, yes. Hey, Amber, yep. Okay, so Threads is Meta's version of Twitter, which was released shortly after Twitter became X, and that was not too long ago. It was probably like mid-July. And I remember one morning, you know, I woke up and there was this brand new social media platform. My boss was talking about it. People on my team were talking about it. And we had all these, well, we didn't have, we observed all of these big brands joining Threads and just posting clever content. And if you are familiar, excuse me, with Jackrabbit's content, you know that we are clever, you know that we are witty, and we're fast on our feet, just like our Jackrabbit's namesake. That was right up our alley. So we jumped on the Threads bandwagon. And, you know, what did we do? We did two things that I believe every marketer should do, and I believe that you should do. I would encourage you to do it with all of your marketing efforts, not just with social media. The first thing we did was that we tried something new. You know, we tried something new. We didn't wake up that day and plan, like it wasn't on our project. It wasn't in like the scope of our month or quarter, year for that matter, to join a new social media platform. But you know, we tried something new. We derailed our productivity and our projects for that day, but we tried something new. You don't need to be afraid to try something new when you're in marketing. But when you do, you like, don't be afraid to fail. If you do fail fast and be ready to say, you know, this is not worth my time. So be ready to analyze how effective that new thing is. That's what we did with Threads. We jumped on. We're like, okay, we're going to keep an eye on this. The second thing that I encourage you to do with all of your marketing efforts, social media in particular, well, social media and all of them for that matter, is know when to walk away. When the juice is not worth the squeeze, right? That saying, it's okay to say, this is not helping me achieve the goals I have for my gym, and my focus is best spent elsewhere. And that's what we said. We said, we're going to try something new. We're going to get on this platform and we're going to see if the juice is worth the squeeze. And we're going to continue to analyze things like engagement. And we'll get to that in just a second. It's okay to say that. For all of these marketing efforts and all of the marketing that you do for your gym, make sure that you try new things. Don't be afraid to try new things, and don't be afraid to say, you know what, this didn't work. And that's okay. So if you get to the point where you feel like, or maybe you're at the point right now, you feel like you're ready to scale back on some of your social platforms, what should you do? Don't go away from all of them. That's not what I'm telling you to do. Instead of going to all of them, focus on the ones that are the most relevant and effective platforms for your sport, for your goals, for your audience. And if you're like, okay, well, then that's fantastic. It sounds wonderful, Molly. How do I do that? It's a great question. I'm going to encourage you, if you don't do this currently, and if you haven't done this with your social media channels, I'm going to encourage you each of this week, look up these 3 following things. And if you know already, then you're off the hook for your Gym Growth Week homework. But the first one is to look at the analytics within each platform to see your followership and your engagement. So followers, while for the most part it's a vanity metric, it still helps you determine which platforms you are more relevant on. Engagement, on the other hand, is going to help you determine which platforms are the most effective for you, because if no one's engaging with the content that you're taking time to create and post day after day, or sometimes multiple times a day, then it's not really an effective channel. The second thing I'll encourage you to do is to look at Google Analytics or GA4 to see if you're getting more site to your traffic from one social media platform over the other. Like for Jackrabbit, we can see, and this is across all of our sites, we can see Facebook, we can see all of LinkedIn, we can see all of our accounts to see the acquired traffic that we're getting from these sites. So make sure that you're looking at that too. It's another good resource to use to help figure out where you're relevant and engagement, like comments and likes. Mason, I'm gonna let you take that one. Yes, it is. And then the third one is to look at registrations to see if people are hearing about your gym from social media. And that in application, this is an example here. I went to register my daughter for a beginning tumbling class for 5 to 8-year-olds at the gym just across the street from my house. And this is the first question that I got as a new customer that anybody registering at Sunshine would get as a new customer registering for a class. And that's, how did you hear about us? So you can see that they have a lot of referring sources here, which is great because they're really active in our community. If you were on multiple social platforms and you have a lot of, referring sources in this drop down here, I would advise you to use just the generic social media source and then use other tools like GA4 or Google Analytics to see more in-depth traffic sources by the social media platform. What I think is really good here is this is a good way to help you spot things like certain trends like, preschool, and let's say, what's another one? Preschool registrations are really impacted by referrals and Hollyfest. And our summer camp registrations are really impacted by people who heard about us on Facebook, or if you have just that blank social media, and field trips. So that way, whenever summer camps are starting to be created and be promoted, I know, okay, so let's say in April, whenever I go to promote my summer camps for the year, I'm going to make sure that I have a really strong organic social and paid social campaign built around that to support that. And then everybody who comes in for a field trip, I'm going to make sure that they get, like, on their little flyer, it says something like summer camps announced annually in April, right? Visit here. mollysgym.com/summer camps. That way, when you start to see trends, you can begin to align your marketing dollars with where your message needs to be. Do you record these analytics to refer back to when planning in future, or check them often? Check them often and record them, yes. I like to do that for both, for planning in the future and for going back to see if like how effective that channel has been, right? Or if I launched a brand new campaign on, we'll go use the summer registration or summer camp registration campaign, for example. If I had a good or a pretty long-winded organic social and paid social campaign to support early registrations for summer camp, then I would go back to see, okay, well, how did that work? What results did I get to maybe help influence? Okay, maybe I could tweak this message a little bit more or change the call to action a little bit. So yeah, do both, Kayla. And not just for planning in the future, but for maybe kind of like planning halfway through the campaign too, help you determine if it's working. Okay. Love the questions. All right. The second misconception is that marketing is all about content. And this is, the belief that producing quality content is the only marketing effort that you need to focus on to convert your audience into paying customers. The reality of this misconception is that content alone is not enough to attract, retain, and convert your audience into paying customers. And before I go any further, I will say that the growth team at Jackrabbit, the team that I'm a part of, produces so much content. I believe in it. I love it. You know, it kind of gets my heart of Twitter every once in a while. I love content marketing, but I know deep down that it is not the only strategy, the marketing strategy that we can rely on to attract, convert, and retain customers throughout their entire journey with Jackrabbit. It's just not. So what should you do if you find yourself like if you think you're spending too much time on content marketing, if that's too much of your focus, what should you do? Make a couple of things. First, and I'm going to hit on this briefly because I could do a whole session about these next two things. Make sure that your content is supported by research and design. And like I said, I could do a whole session on research for content. But I do want to say that if you are staffing a person, or you as the owner of your gym are taking the time to write a blog, to develop copy for your website, that you're using tools that tell you what phrases and what terms related to like your services that people are actually searching, that you're using the tools to tell you that. So then when you are creating copy, when you are creating blogs, you're using those terms and you're publishing them. So that way, when the person on the other end gets online and searches that term, Google's going to see it on your website and they're going to serve them up that content that you worked so hard on. A couple of tools really quick that I have used throughout my career for this are SEMrush, Ahrefs, so Ahrefs, and Neil Patel. They all have some free version of them, so you can just get on if it's something that you feel like you have a good control over. You don't spend too much of your time on content, but maybe you need to bolster a little bit. You can look at those resources and those tools to really help you out with your SEO. And secondly, when it comes to content, it should be supported with design, such as video and high quality images. You're not just posting words on a page. And that's something that I know that you all have heard if you were part of Next Gen. I know you guys have heard Danielle and her team talk about that too. And then the next two I'm going to talk about, they are my absolute favorite. So I'm going to go into those just a little bit more. It's that you need to humanize the conversations that you're having with your audience and humanize the conversations you're creating in content, and then creating content that educates, inspires, or entertains your audience. So humanizing your conversations and why that's important. It's important because people buy from people. It's just innate, right? Like we are drawn to faces. What were those SEO sites one more time? Ahrefs, Neil Patel, and SEMrush. Good question, Danny. Okay, so it's important to humanize your content because it helps you appear more personable and people buy from people. The way you can humanize your content is by being authentic and relatable. Being authentic and relatable in your content and in your marketing, it elicits a certain emotional response from people that helps them remember your gym. And two ways to appear authentic and relatable are by leveraging shared values and by optimizing your tone. So what I mean by shared values, I'll give you two examples here. Has anybody heard of the brand Warby Parker? Yes, no. You wear glasses? Yes. If you don't, probably yes. You go to the mall. Okay, awesome. So Warby Parker, it's the glasses company, like a lot of us all know. Whenever they entered the market back in the day, they did a really good job of saying, we know you want stylish and affordable glasses, right? You want stylish and affordable glasses that you don't have to go to an eye doctor for. We want them too. We want them too. We got bad eyes, which is why we created this mail-in service that gives you options. That is an example of shared value. We know you want this, we want it too, which is why we did this. And they conveyed that in their marketing, especially whenever they went to market, whenever they launched back in the day. I said, I'll give you two examples. Another example is, I know a couple of you guys have done this already. You all have personal experience with it, and it's with diversifying your programs to appeal to, let's say, like siblings that are in the waiting room in your gym, or just a broader audience in your community. If you haven't quite done that yet, but that piques your interest, like diversifying your programs, make sure you tune into Samantha's session tomorrow, because she's going to go really deep into that. She'll tell you all about it tomorrow. But for those of you who have expanded your class offerings to attract new groups of students, what you basically said is to the mom or to the parent, we know you want activities for your 5-year-old or for your other kids while their sibling is at cheer, while they are tumbling. We want that for you too. We want you to be able to sit and read your book or listen to your podcast or finish up work for the day, which is why we've created Ninja or preschool or whatever type of offering that you have, like created this multi-sport opportunity for you right here within your gym to keep all of your kids busy in class when you are at the gym. You understand that you understand what they value, right? They want all their kids to have an activity, and they want some alone time. You understand that, and you've optimized your gym to provide that to your customers. And so if you've done that, but you haven't really marketed it that way, like we understand we have this shared value, then consider doing that whenever you maybe bring another, let's say you haven't added Ninja yet, but you're going to bring Ninja to your gym. Maybe try that next time. That's a good way to utilize and leverage shared value. The next pillar of creating humanizing content, or content that makes you and your gym appear more human, is your tone. Make an effort to use like the same language that your customers are used to, or the same language that they're used to you using whenever you're having having regular conversations with them in your lobby, on the phone, what have you. I will caution, like whenever I said use the tone they're used to. Don't forsake your authenticity just to communicate with them in a tone that they're used to, right? Because a lot of you might have a lot of Gen Z customers, and that's not you. That's fine. You don't have to use that lingo. I don't know it some of the times, but I will give you an example of A+ tones. This is a website. It's an about page. Now, this is a dance studio, and I know it's very not apples to apples, but I love this dance studio. I think that they do, and I grew up dancing. So I've used this example a couple of times whenever I talk to people about tone and how you can use that to humanize your conversation. So this is Rhythm Dance Center, just outside of Atlanta, Georgia, and this is their about page. It says, check out our fun studio. We're all about having fun at Rhythm, and our studio is no exception. On any given day, you'll find a bright lobby filled with amazing dancers and parents, vibrant colors, and fun decor. We love all seasons, holidays, and occasions, so we also have a fun themed photo wall, just screaming for a selfie and a social post. Okay, that's an about page. And I can tell you right now, I do not find most about pages entertaining or engaging, but this, on the other hand, is a different story. I've never been to their studio. I have seen these owners, and they are just as bright and just as fun as this opening paragraph on their about page on their dance studio website leads the reader to believe that they are. This is a fantastic way to just turn a couple of sentences into a really fun and engaging and humanizing piece of content. All right. The last way that you can really leverage your content in your marketing efforts is to make sure, instead of just creating content for content's sake, make sure that you are creating content that educates, inspires, or entertains your audience. So when there's so much content that people are posting, not just at your gym, but everywhere, our consumers are inundated, consumers these days, customers, they are inundated with just content and posts that are begging for their attention. So if you're going to do the same thing, what you have to do is ask them to spend time with quality content. And again, if you are creating educational, inspirational, or entertaining content, you are going to be more likely to stop the scroll of your customer and capture their attention. So breaking down each one of these elements really quickly, entertaining content. If you can make somebody smile, laugh, like you don't have to be like ha funny in your content, but if you can make them feel like happy, they are going to be more likely to remember your gym. And I know all of you should have zero issues creating this type of content, like your passes, combinations, stunts, performances, they all have a certain entertainment level, right? Entertainment value to them that can make people smile. Like the facials alone, again, I grew up dancing, it's not the same, I understand, but we knew the facials, we knew the vowels, like your A's and your E's and your I's, like we know that. And whenever I watch that, like whenever I go and see my old studio perform, like I see that and it makes me happy. And your athletes do the same thing, right? So remember that you guys do this already. And if you capture this content, video is a really great avenue for sharing entertaining content. Capture it and share it. It's what people like to engage with. It's what people like to see. Secondly is inspirational content. And I encourage you to focus on this instead of just content for content's sake, because if you can make somebody feel something, right, they'll be more likely to recall your gym also. I don't know, does anybody here have classes at your gym for athletes with disabilities? I've seen it that for the purposes of the example before at the gym across our street. I wish, yes, that's fantastic. I know some dance studios who offer it too. I think that's fantastic. Or maybe if you don't, that's fine. Maybe you have a coach who has overcome some sort of injury, not necessarily related to the sport, but has overcome some sort of injury. And now they help mentor and coach other kids who have, in the process of setting up one, that's fantastic, Kayla, mentor kids and help them overcome that same injury or what have you. And, you know, you don't need to share that content to exploit by any means, but it is a great story to tell as long as you're able to tell why it's important to you, right? So those are two good examples of inspirational content that people really like to read. But another one, like if you don't have that, that's completely fine. Another example of inspirational content is quotes. Inspirational quotes. It might seem easy, it might seem cheesy, but it works, I swear. And I'll tell you, so the number one blog on the Jackrabbit Dance site that gets traffic into our website is 15 inspirational quotes, like 15 inspirational dance quotes. That is it. Month after month after month, that blog article brings in traffic to our website. So maybe you have a quote of the month that you share on social, or that you share on like in your members group, or maybe you assign one of your students, like you have the quote of the month, and go ahead and share this in, you know, our members page. You could do that as another way to create inspirational content that people will engage with. And then the third and final type of content that I encourage you to consider creating instead of just content for content's sake is educational content. And you know, there's no faster way to get people to keep scrolling, delete an email, ignore a message than by wasting their time. And people can perceive if you're going to waste their time in like the first 3 seconds that they open an email or, you know, are scrolling. The attention span is so small. And people will blow straight through your piece of content if it is wasting their time. Educational content doesn't waste people's time. And, you know, I'm not talking about our education that we worked so many years to attain all the way from like kindergarten, not that. I'm not talking about that. What I'm talking about is like short little things like registration details, upcoming event schedules, competition schedule updates. I mean, it would be a glorious day if the competition was running 2 hours ahead, but it's usually going to run a little behind. So send out a note saying, this is the new time that we need to be here, right? Weather closure information. Those are facts. We are closed today because we got 2 feet of snow. power's out at the gym, we're closed. Those are little things that you can share along with larger details like registration or summer camps. Those are pieces of content that people will consume and will read as long as you are not wasting their time. And a great avenue for this information is websites, highly targeted emails, push notifications through your gym's app. It's a really good way to share that content. And then one more thing here before I hop on over to our next topic is that I don't share all of this with you to make you think you have to create content that is all three of these things. It's not. Your content needs to either be educational, inspirational, or entertaining. And the reason why you need to do that is because it diversifies the types of quality content that you're posting, and that helps keep your readers, your followers, whoever on their toes, and helps keep them wanting more from you. All right, the third misconception is that email is outdated and you don't need it to market your gym. Like why use email if social media platforms, quick posts, and direct messages work just fine? So the reality is that email, it is one of the oldest forms of digital marketing, like true, I'll give you that. But it is by no means ineffective. And when it's used correctly, it can help you connect directly with the right audience. It's going to give your gym big results, like results in the way of registration and revenue. So if you have completely written off email marketing because you think like, oh, it's old, it's the old guy, I don't need it, what should you do? Well, I recommend that you adapt that thought and you continue to adapt, because even like ever since email broke out onto the scene, it's been evolving and it's been adapting. Everything is, right? Everything evolves and everything adapts. Email is the exact same way. So first thing, make sure that you adapt. Secondly, make sure that you're personalizing your emails and making them relevant to your audience. And while you might be sending a mass email, that's fine. You can still communicate with people in a mass email setting by like visualizing them as a person with a face and not a faceless mass. So make sure that you're using personalization in your emails as much as you can. And then secondly, layer your email marketing activities with another channel. Like if you're like, all right, Molly, you got me, I'm convicted. I don't really use email because I don't think it's effective. I prefer using social. You use both, right? Use both. Layer your email marketing with another channel that you would regularly use, like social. So I'll give you an example. I just put this together because I'm really trying to promote the session tomorrow. If you're launching a new program at your gym, and you would usually only want to promote that on social media, well, here's an example of how you could layer that with email. And let's say, you don't have a whole lot of space for it. You're only gonna, like, this is a pilot program you're gonna test. It's just like one day a week. You don't really have that much space to fill. So it's gonna be a short 7-day campaign. So you could, like the first day, leverage your social media platforms and use, some teaser copy. Like on Facebook, you could say something new is hitting them out tomorrow for this spring, fall, whatever season you're in. Any guesses what it is? Drop them below and be entered to win, like that white bow Danielle was talking about on Monday, right? That she always has in her pro shop. Enter to win that. It's going to get you comments, and it's going to get people coming back to see if they won. And that's fantastic. The algorithms love that. Then you could pop on over to Instagram and do a story and say, like, make it really personable and say, hey, we're so excited to be launching this, this new and exciting thing this fall or spring. We're going to give our members only group early access. Like, we're going to announce that early in our members only group. So if you are a current athlete, make sure you join that. Okay. That's going to help drum up some excitement still, and maybe help get a couple of those stragglers who have not yet joined your group into your group. Day 2, you could do the early bird notification to current students, and where you might just have previously posted that in your Facebook group, still do that, but you can layer it with an email to your current customers. We're so excited for this class to begin on this day. And as a thank you for being such a loyal customer, we're going to give you access to register for this new class offering ahead of the general public. Put the link in there, take them to register for it, easy peasy. I don't know, Susan. tune in tomorrow because maybe Samantha does have the new program launch graphics. I don't have any for this example, I'm sorry. So yeah, that's a good way to like do a post in your Facebook group and do a targeted email to your current students. You could wait a couple of days and then do the announcement to the general public on both of your public facing Facebook page and Instagram post. Oh yes, this graphic, it will be, we are going to share this recording Monday of next week, all of the recordings. So yes, you can get it, or you can take a screenshot of it because it's going to be up here for a second, a little bit longer too. Sorry, I misunderstood your question. So then you could do your Facebook post to the general public, and you could email everyone in your lead file or all of your students who haven't yet registered for the year, right? Like if you're opening a new program right now, okay, classes have started. You might have had a couple of stragglers who were registered last season, but not this season. Filter that out, send them the email and say, we have this new offering. Are you interested in this? Give them that quick link to register, then, they're in. And then wait a couple of more days, maybe on that last day, you could get a couple of testimonials from people who maybe they were like, oh my gosh, thank you. I've been waiting for this ninja class for my son. Maybe they say something fantastic that you just want to share. Share it, right? It's a great way for you to put just some social proof, right? Or user-generated content, whatever you want to call it, on your social media channels. People like that stuff on social, especially with marketing. And if you feel like you don't have enough spots filled, you can maybe put some paid social behind it too. All right, another marketing misconception is that you don't need to market to your current customers because you've got them in the door, they are loyal, and they're staying with you. Wrong. Communicating with your customer base and continually showing them the value that you provide their child is what keeps them enrolled, is what keeps them loyal to your gym. They need to continue to see the value, and you need to reiterate that to them. And a big part of that is through your marketing. So if you're not currently marketing to your customers, start, please. That's my do. Please start. But I'll tell you exactly where you should start. If you, actually, I'm going to ask you guys a question. It's been a while. How many of you guys have actually asked your customers how they want to communicate with you? How you want them? How many of you ask your customers what their preferred method of communication is? Email, text? Do you ask that? Me, it's on a survey at the start of the season. I like it. That is fantastic. Other people take note. Okay. If you don't, that's fine. I won't put anybody on blast for that. But you need to know how your customers want to be communicated with, because it's so easy to, at registration, fantastic, never asked, try it, Jennifer, try it, it would be fantastic. Maybe at the beginning of each season. Marketers, it's really easy for us to fall into this trap of communicating with customers using channels that are convenient for us versus the channels that they prefer. Yeah, like I remember, there have been a couple of times where I'm like, well, duh, no wonder why that didn't work, because I find this easy, but it's not where my customers are. It's not where this audience is. They're over here and they need to be communicated with using this tool instead. Two channels that I see being underutilized by gyms and other youth activity centers, especially using Jackrabbit, are email. Email, which we just talked about. Jackrabbit, or your gym management software, whatever you're using, should make emailing customers easy through native functionality or by integrating with your CRM or your email platform with Zapier. And that is a completely shameless plug for something that came out earlier this year. If you're not using Zapier and you're with Jackrabbit, by all means, please go search it out, because it's going to help you take your email marketing efforts to the next level. Another tool that I see being underutilized by gyms and by our clients is push notifications and group chats through your gym's mobile app. So I'm going to put this in perspective for you. My guess is that if you looked at your phone right now, you would probably have more unread emails than like texts and other app notifications combined. I'll do it for you all just to see. Okay, I have 84 emails. I have 17 notifications from all of the apps on my phone, and that includes text messages. So 84 versus 17. It's a big difference. And the reason why I share this, there is a point. The benchmark report, the youth activities benchmark report that Jackrabbit publishes every year, the one for last year shows that push notifications have a 9 times higher open rate than emails for Jackrabbit clients. Jackrabbit clients who sent push notifications, Jackrabbit clients who sent emails, push notifications were opened at a 9 times higher rate than email. And I don't share this to say that app is superior to email by any means. You should use email and you should be using app. I'm sharing this with you to paint the picture that there are other communication channels that we know your customers use and you can lean into. So if you aren't using one of these two, or you feel like you're underutilizing one of these two, it doesn't have to be Gym Growth Week homework for this week. You know, we're almost to the fourth quarter. We're almost to October, and you're probably going to start planning like 2024 things too. Maybe that could be a 2024 goal for you to look into an app, or to look into how you can better leverage push notifications or email within Jackrabbit to communicate with your customers. So those are 2 things that I really recommend you all do when it comes to marketing to your current customers. And I know that both Kiera and Danielle had a lot of good facts about, you know, communicating or offering things to your current customers to increase like your average revenue per member, or to get in more pro shop sales. Like all of the things they talked about yesterday and Monday, they could not do that if they weren't communicating and weren't marketing to your customers. The only thing that I wanted to add to that is your customer lifetime value, and make sure that you know that number, and make sure that you are always aware of it. Because, you know, the second a kid enrolls in a class at your gym, their student lifetime value clock starts ticking. I was talking to a dance studio owner the other day at a conference, and she shared with me, we were talking about this, and we were talking about marketing to your current customers. She shared with me that her average student lifetime value is $22,000. And first of all, I was like, I mean, if you know your number, go ahead and plop it in here. That would be fantastic to know. She shared that with me. And I was like, first of all, that's fantastic that you know that. And then she started sharing with me how she markets to her customers and how she continues to engage them. So it was a really good conversation. But if your number is 22,000, if it's whatever number, their clock starts ticking right away. And just keep thinking about yourself. Okay, if I'm not prioritizing marketing to my current customers, how much am I potentially losing by not doing that? So that's another way to put it into perspective and why it's important. Okay. The 5th and final marketing misconception, we have made it. It's been a long, windy road. We've made it, but we're here. The final misconception is that if I use social media to promote my gym, I don't need a website. And why is that wrong? It's wrong because it assumes a couple of different things: that social media algorithms never change, and they never will change; that Facebook or Instagram or Twitter will never go down, right? And that platforms never change, like never change the way that they look, or where buttons are, or what you can and can't do inside of the platforms to impact user behavior. You never know when Facebook is going to make a change that people are just going to be like, bye, not doing it anymore. You know, I've seen all of these happen multiple times since I first joined the Facebook back in the day when my university got access to it. Like, I've seen all of this happen as a user, and I've seen all of this happen as a marketer. So, you know, the reality of this, if you are using social media instead of a website, the reality of this is you don't have ownership of the social media platform of that group. of that page. You might own what you put, or you go in and you post the stuff and you have control over that, but you own your website. You have ownership of that, and you are more in control there to control what is said, who sees what, when, and where than on any device platform. So if you don't have a website, or if you're underutilizing it, start utilizing your website. Start putting your eggs into your own basket instead of somebody else's. Okay. Focus on building something that you own, that you're in control over, your messaging, and that you can drive your engaged traffic to, right? Drive engaged traffic through your emails, through targeted emails to your website. You can still promote your offerings in your gym on social channels, but drive them to your website to get more information on things like the programs that you offer, on registration information, to get them to register, right? Pro shop shopping, right? Let them shop on your website, and you can own, you own what goes, what's available in the pro shop that month, or what the subscription box of the month is, and when people can get it, pre-order it through your website. If any of that sounds interesting, make sure you did not attend Monday's session, make sure you go back and watch that from Danielle. Or booking birthday parties. You own your website, you don't own the social channels. So make sure that you are putting your eggs in your basket, and not somebody else's. That is my final do and don't of the session. So if you have any questions, I will scroll back up to make sure I got them all. But if you have any questions whatsoever, I would love to take them. If you have any questions after the fact, you can reach out to info@jackrabbittech.com. If you're not a Jackrabbit client and you have a couple of more questions, you can reach out there. If you do have a question for Jackrabbit and you are a current user, you can reach out to support@jackrabbittech.com. Those are both up on the screen. Okay, I'm going to go all the way back up. All right. I think I got everything. I am going to then, I guess we're at the time. How often do you suggest updating your website? Sorry, Kayla, completely saw that. That's a wonderful question. Updating your website. Do you mean like a full refresh? Or, okay, you don't need to do a full refresh all the time. Like, you don't need to completely redesign it. I would say make sure that with every season you are making sure that your staff are up to date. If a staff member leaves or is added, make sure that you are adding them and removing them as they go along. If somebody's title changes, just continue to make sure that everything's up to date as things change, as the season changes, as your classes change. In Jackrabbit, they should change on your your class listing online, if you have your website integrated with Jackrabbit. But if you're no longer offering tumble dots anymore, then for the next season, just make sure that you remove that from your website. So I would say, as often as things change, just make sure that it's up to date. Do you have any suggestions for how to best use Facebook ads meta? Again, a whole nother session. How to best use it? Use them. Use them. Target a larger audience. I would say make sure that you are. I would say make sure that you are trying to, or make sure that you are using the and also likes feature too, because a lot of people, the like functionality can be used to your advantage as a marketer. So especially when you're trying to find new parents, and likes, if you're trying to grow your preschool program and you want to find moms, and like burn boot camp in my community, because that's a gym where moms go and they can take their kids, right? So if somebody likes that, they probably have kids who could be active, and likes varsity sport because maybe they cheer, but they cheer at a different gym, that's maybe like 30 minutes away, but they're willing to travel, right? Depending on y'all's location, of course. I would really lean into that, making sure that you use that functionality. And likes, well, Danny, Jennifer, you might just be giving me another topic. Maybe we'll dive into this at Gym Growth Week 2024, busting the Facebook and the Facebook meta ad algorithm. My doorbell just rang. My dog might go a little crazy. Anything off the top of your head to completely avoid an email marketing? Nothing worse than seeing unsubscribe. Well, yes, nothing. So I would say really lean into sending that educational content. Don't make it too long. I would utilize spaces, right? Maybe do like two sentences max per paragraph. That helps. Use emojis. Those are fantastic, especially in some subject lines. You could use emojis. I would avoid using the word free too many times for whatever reason, because that's going to trip some spam filters and it's not going to get delivered. But I would use that. And you know what? I will say, while unsubscribe is not a fun thing to see, it is an answer, right? Like somebody's telling you, this is a no for me. And sometimes that can be like a blessing in disguise, because then you're no longer wasting your efforts to try and convert somebody into a customer who really has no intention of ever registering at your gym. So I will say that, but yeah, utilize emojis, really consider your spacing, utilize alt text. If you have a lot of pictures in your email, you could use some alt text. If you're using a CRM and you have that connected with Jackrabbit with Zapier, use some alt text. So if somebody's images don't pop up on their phone or on their computer, it could say like registration now open at Molly's gym. That's what the alt text would say behind the picture. So if the picture doesn't load, the viewer who's reading that email can be like, oh, well, this is an email about registration. It's being opened. For whatever reason, it's not loading on my phone. I'm going to go look at their website and then I'll register. Is it beneficial to be a member of your city's Chamber of Commerce? Sure. Yes. I will let other people answer that question. I'm not a business owner to know. If anybody has anything for Eric, let me know. Let them know. All right. So if you don't have any other questions, I will go ahead and start doing our giveaway winner for today. You're welcome, Dan. Do I have that? Maybe, maybe not. Mason, can you drop that to me when you get a second? Or maybe they're still putting all of the names in because you guys have some pretty stellar questions. Our Chamber of Commerce shares our posts and helps promote our gym along with all other chamber members. It's fantastic. All right, here's the wheel of names. Let's pull it over. All right. Here it is. Oh, Miss Skylar. I've met you before. I've met you at the Next Gen conferences. Congratulations. All right, so if you are still here, Skylar, let us know in the chat. You can email the Next Gen team at info@nextgymowners.com. And again, you are going to get your choice of an all-star packet valued at $139. So congratulations, Skylar. And if there are no more questions, if you do have questions, again, use the emails that were up on that last screen or that Mason dropped in the chat. And I look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Remember, we have Samantha. She is going to be on at 12 Eastern talking about how you can diversify the programs at your gym. And we have a whole bunch of links in here to book your discovery call with the Next Generation Gym Owner team to learn more about their academy program. We have their Gym Growth Week resources that they've put together. Remember, they talked a lot about birthday parties yesterday and pro shop sales. You can get access to all of those resources by clicking there. signing up for their conference, the Next Generation Gym Owners Conference in San Diego. That's where I met Skylar for the first time in Vegas last year. So register, go to that. I look forward to meeting some of you all in person. You can listen to the Cheer Biz podcast. We're going to be featured guest on that in the near future, so maybe you'll hear us there too. And of course, if you want to learn more about Jackrabbit Cheer, you can start your free trial or talk to a coach, and they can maybe demo one thing that you're interested in seeing. And then again, if you're using Jackrabbit, don't forget that we have free unlimited support. You can get help at any time if you need it through any of our support reps. But you have all those links there for you in the chat, and I look forward to seeing you all tomorrow.